he'll be returning to the Rockaways. And I figured he would just lose his whole mental state of being when I told him that Fort Tilden, right there, east of Reese Park, west of the Irish Riviera, which is Breezy Point, is scheduled to house 500, I've gotten an update, 500 single able-bodied men from Venezuela. The specs were done 2 weeks ago. I have had that confirmed from 6 different sources. They were out there looking at the grounds of Fort Tilden. If you've ever been out there, it's the most beautiful beach in all of New York City. It rivals anything on the Jersey Shore. It rivals anything on the South Shore of Long Island. Boy, if I were an illegal alien going into the summer, man, I'd want to be there. I mean, it is so beautiful, so gorgeous. But I noticed that Sid and some others are taking a blasé attitude, man. You don't get up there and start screaming and yelling and hollering and do something preemptively, it's going to be there, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Here was Sid this morning. He mentioned it one time in a 4-hour program, because his friends are involved in this. Frank Carone, Anthony Carone, and his very dear friend Eric Adams.
I did send a text to Mayor Eric Adams last night. He did respond relatively quickly. And I said, I want to talk to you about this. So setting up a dinner for later on this week or early next week. We'll be back on the show next week. But whether it's Fort Tilden, like Curtis Sliwa alerted me to yesterday, or these gymnasiums, this is just no good. No good.
Man, I've heard Sid more outraged before on issues. He's going to have dinner. Hey, by then the tents will be up. You could go with Eric Adams there, Sid, and you could be feeding the illegal aliens at our taxpayers' expense. Let me once again praise our Crackerjack with the Crackerjack Prize news team of James Flippin and news director Noam Laden. We double-teamed this yesterday. And they reached out to City Hall, because, if I reach out to City Hall, they introduce me to Mr. Click. And so the question was from our news team, hello, our host and former mayoral candidate Curtis Sliwa is reporting that Fort Tilden and Fort Totten in Queens have been surveyed for the set-up tents so as to house migrants seeking asylum/shelter here in the city. Is there any truth to that, and does the mayor's office have any sort of comment on that? Response. Hi, James. And this is from Fabian Levy, who is the spokesperson for the Adams administration. He's the sycophantodian lackey who's always follows him everywhere. We don't comment on every pending site. Lou, we don't comment on every pending site. You're a Rockaway occupant. I'm going to call you an occupant, because if these illegals come in, you'll be out of here. Like Billy Joel is leaving out there in Suffolk County. He's out of there. That's the big story. He's moving out, right? I got more news about Suffolk County coming up, because you folks don't know what's happening in Suffolk County, do you? But I warn you about Rockaway, and if you don't preemptively put up a fuss, you're going to wake up in the morning and there are going to be 500 illegal aliens, males from Venezuela. Maybe the benefit of that is, hey, you'll have language immersion. You'll have to learn Spanish quickly because you'll be overrun with illegals. That's number one, okay? Number two, Fort Totten. What did I tell you about Fort Totten? In northern Queens. Everybody in Bayside, everybody in Whitestone is affected by that. They're moving it in. They've already done the specs in the parade grounds. Thankfully, Vicky Palladino has been raising hell ever since I told her yesterday. She had no idea. I don't know if Councilwoman Joanne Ariola, they're both Republicans, had any idea what's going on in Fort Tilden, but they certainly know now on the most powerful radio station in the nation. So the question is, why has he chosen these areas to shove hundreds of illegal aliens in? Because they're red areas. Remember, the Rockaways voted for me against Eric Adams. He hates you out there. Whitestone, Bayside, College Point voted for me. They didn't vote for Eric Adams. It's red. And they voted for Congressman Lee Zeldin in the gubernatorial race. So he's saying, hey, F you. You didn't vote for me. I'm shoving the illegal aliens there because Abbott, the Republican, forces him on me. Look at what he's doing upstate. County executive of that day, Rockland, Republican. Steve Newhouse, still trying to figure this out. Like Alfred E. Newman, What Me Worry, Orange County, where they're kicking out veterans out of the Crossroads Hotel, where they kicked out that wedding party. Right? He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's a Republican. This is vengeance. And if you don't organize, look out. Look, that's all I'm going to say. All I can do is warn you. And you see, other people are beginning to demonstrate preemptively because they know the illegals are coming into their neighborhood. The city is forcing them. But let me hear. This is incredible. Let me hear, if I can, the Brooklyn parents who were outraged over the illegals being sent into their school in Williamsburg, the Burg, with no notification. They had no idea that their kids would be learning their lessons next to 100 illegal aliens in the gymnasium.
I don't mind giving a helping hand, but when it interferes with the education of our students, yes, I do care. The mayor really got to look into the law, into what's permissible.
It doesn't have to be in the public schools. They can put them somewhere else.
There's no safety. They're giving us one safety officer, just one additional one. We only have two for a school of 700 kids.
That's not fair. And it only happens in low-income communities where our children are failing and not empowered in any way. Makes me angry.
Yeah, it makes you angry. Why don't you throw this bum out? Eric Adams, swagger man, with a plan to shove illegal aliens into every nook, cranny, corner of the city. And it's not just poor neighborhoods, lady. Look at some of these neighborhoods where they're planning on housing these illegal aliens. You got to get ahead of the curve. But ladies and gentlemen, there are traitors out there. There are Judases. Follow the money. What do I always say? Follow the money. I don't care if they've been my friends or foes. I call them out. The most important thing for any politician or political movement is, are you doing what's in the best interest of America? Not your district, not you bringing home the bacon. Let me alert you, there is a fundraiser, believe it or not, in the heart of Queens tomorrow night, Wednesday night in Flushing, for the re-election of Eric Adams. Can you imagine this? Hosted by Republicans. Yeah, Republicans. I am going to have people outside, and they're going to eye every person coming in. We're going to photograph you just like the FBI does. And I'm going to put them out there, Republicans who are selling out their city at a time that Eric Adams is shoving these illegal aliens. Wants to do it in Fort Tilden. Wants to do it in Fort Totten. Right? Republican areas. Never mind all the schools. It's now up to 20 schools. And God bless Harry Kagan, who was a Democratic city councilman. He's now a Republican running against that other traitor, Justin Brannan, who says, I'm confused. Who in the last Friday, when they were shoving the illegal aliens in PS 188's gymnasium in Coney Island, he said, this is why they don't notify people, because they know the community would be against it. They're not giving any notification. I'm giving you notification. All the neighborhoods, not just in the 5 boroughs, but throughout the tri-state area. Write this down, ladies and gentlemen. This is the ultimate Judas Traditos, the stab in the back. This is like the Ides of March. Rudy E. Giuliani, not Rudy. Rudy E. Giuliani is a cousin of the former mayor. And his wife, Catherine. I've known them a long time. They're going to host Mayor Adams at their home in Flushing for a reception for his re-election. $1,000 with a maximum allowable of $2,100. And they want Republicans to come. It just so happens the Traditor, the Judas, Catherine Giuliani, is a lobbyist at RG Group doing business with the city, but holds a position in the Republican Party. Oh, yeah. They even tried to get Vicky Palladino to go. They said, Vicky, you can talk to the mayor directly. You can tell him the needs that you have in Northern Queens. You know what Vicky Palladino told him? Drop dead. This mayor who is shoving illegal aliens into all of our neighborhoods, not just mine, but in neighborhoods all over the city. Drop dead. You're not going to get a photo op with me and the mayor trying to claim that you're Republicans for the re-election of Eric Adams. Again, if you go to this fundraiser tomorrow night in Flushing, hosted by the two traitors, Rudy E. Giuliani, a cousin of former mayor Rudy Giuliani, and his wife Catherine, who has a position in the Republican Party. Oh, my God. See, it's for the money. Follow the money. See, ladies and gentlemen, unlike everybody else here, unlike Sid, I call out my friends and I call out my foes because we do what's in the best interest of America, of the state of New York, the state of New Jersey, the state of Connecticut, the state of Pennsylvania, and most importantly, New York City. You go to that fundraiser, I'm going to get you pictures. I'm going to blast it up all over. You're supporting a mayor who's shoving illegal aliens throughout Queens and throughout the city of New York. Shame on you. You are disgraziata. You are a shanda.